We'll call the meeting to order. Commissioner Gabe, will you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. First item on the agenda is to approve our agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Denner.
Number 6, then.
Yep. That's second. Okay, we have a second. Item number 6 will be stricken. We put it on there in case someone was able to show up and they're not able to. So we have a motion and a second to approve the amended agenda. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next, we'll open the meeting up for any public comments. If anyone would like to address the commission on any issue that is not on our agenda.
I would.
Okay?
I'm Tracy Fife. I've been a Brown County resident for 36 years now. What I've come to learn is that there are many toxic people in Aberdeen. It's full of corrupt, greedy people. It even has attempted murders and slanderous abuse of people. Jackie Brown is one of them. She roams around the streets freely, protected by the county, and continues to do so. In 2005, Jackie Brown hired an attorney who was working for CPS at the time that I had nothing to do with. She put the bill in my name through Brown County Welfare. In 2011, Avera failed to notify Medicaid to pay back Brown County Welfare for the $1,500 deposit that they loaned me to have my large tumor removed. Right here. Because of this, I am unable to obtain assistance through Brown County Welfare. I don't recall exactly when it was, but my youngest 2 children were running 103 fevers, which to people that normally run 98.6, this would be 105 to them. One was doctoring under Avera, the other doctored under Sanford. Because Avera is greedy and cared more about money than the well-being of a child, they refused to re-sign a referral. I now have to pay AAA collections because insurance didn't cover the bill. In 2018, I was under the custody of the state for a suicide watch, and they hospitalized me. I was told when I was taken in that the state would pay my bill since I was under their care. The state paid $1,000 and left me with $7,200 of that bill. I had been garnished 20% of all my wages, partially because of it. AMI took me to court back in 2021. I knew nothing about it for $19,000. They didn't tell the judge that I had dependent children. In 2020, my daughter was molested. State's attorney had promised to pay her $200 for her testimony on the incident. To this day, I have never seen that payment. Recently, I have been trying to pursue a loan to purchase the house that I grew up in. I have also attempted to pursue a business loan. I keep getting the same response. Judgments and collections need to be satisfied. Our agreements need to be arranged before we can help, and to take credit counseling classes or file for bankruptcy. I filed bankruptcy the month that I turned 21. Healthcare Plus Federal Credit Union that I had loaned for a trailer house and for a car failed to notify the collection agency or credit bureaus that I had filed bankruptcy, which is illegally trying to obtain a tax. I do not want to file bankruptcy again. Here's the other problem. Because of other people's cruelty and actions, I'm being forced to pay for it. My debts are not credit cards or other credit counseling qualified for debt consolidation loans. I'm surviving off my youngest son's SSI right now and child support. My income is far from being able to afford the $75 a week that AMI Avera wants or the $225 a month that AAA collections want. Collections agencies even refuse to work with companies such as Lutheran Social Services on coming up with agreeable payment plans. Point there being, there is no help. There is no relief in these situations, and Brown County has no resources. I even called the crisis line on Wednesday. My counselors have discussed all these kinds of matters, and we came up with the same conclusion. There is no help. I'm here today to ask that the companies be held reliable for their incurred debts that have been forced upon me, that they pay back all their financial responsibilities and to amend things. What's left after that, I'm asking the county for a loan to help me pay off other toxic debts I have, so I can stop living with the desire to be dead. I was cleaning in my mom's house that she wants to sell, the one that I grew up in. This is a calendar from when my youngest child was less than a year old. It shows when he went into the hospital. I was told I had less than half an hour, and he would have been dead if I hadn't gotten him in. We wound up in Omaha with an emergency tracheostomy put in. He is not graduating this year. That same corner that I pulled him out of that crib when I was kind of laying down that night is the exact same corner that my dad took his last breath in. And that is the house that I am trying to sell. I also worked for Reed Kessler at Kessler's Grocery. I might be a familiar face to some of you. I was a cashier out there. I worked for Reed for almost 4 years. I know you guys have the authority and the ability to oversee companies and regulations within the county. I got wrote up so bad one day out at Kessler's that his human resources department was going to take me to Avera for psychiatric care. They were worried that I would hurt myself. I'm diagnosed with a chronic recurrent depression. Several months later, when Reed fired me, he said that a phone call complaint had come through, possibly one that he even paid for. When I filed with the EEOC of unemployment, he told unemployment that they fired me for misconduct. I went over my ethical standards and morals and did what they wanted me to do. When it came to the EEOC, he told again the EEOC another reason as to why he fired me. Completely different from what I was told when I was fired, and completely different from what he told unemployment. The state said that I was not guilty of misconduct by law because it was not upheld, and I was granted my unemployment. At that time, I wanted nothing more than the EEOC to enforce a code of ethics for Reed, but that never happened. To me, he is another one of the toxins that is walking the streets of Aberdeen and getting away with it. He's unsupervised, and therefore he is being allowed to do it.
Ma'am, I'm going to interrupt. Our time for public comment has expired. I'm going to refer you to the state's attorney, the Brown County State's Attorney's Office, so that they can explain what we can and can't do and what we're legally bound to do, if anything, because I don't think anyone here can address your issues today. We have no authority over private individuals or organizations or companies, so if you would make an appointment with the Brown County State's Attorney, they'll listen to you and advise you to what the county is capable of doing or able to do legally. Appreciate you taking time and coming in today. Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address the Brown County Commission this morning? In person, on the phone, online? All right, we will move on. Next up, Judy Dash, maintenance floor covering bids. Don't know if Judy is here. There she is. Come on in, Judy, you're up. Let's buy a little carpet.
All the signatures.
Do you want to open the bids, or do you want...
Lynn can do it, that's fine.
Okay.
Notice
See if
hereby
anybody else-
given that sealed bids will be received in the chambers of the Brown County Board of Commissioners at the Courthouse Annex, 25 Market Street, Suite 1, Aberdeen, South Dakota, until the hour of 8:45 a.m. on April 25th, 2023. At said time, all bids will be publicly opened, read, and considered by the Brown County Board of Commissioners for removal and disposal of existing carpet and vinyl cove base, and install 24 by 24 carpet tiles and new vinyl base. You have two bids. Montgomery's. Materials is $18,718.85, labor being $10,600, for a grand total of $29,318.85. Your second bid is from Builders ProSource. There is, for the carpet tile, $21,201.70. Adhesive is $750. Vinyl cove base is $1,756.80. Adhesive for that is $286.20. Door transition is $68.40. Carpet tile stair nosing is $56.04. Labor is $14,840 for a grand total of $38,959.14.
Judy, do you want to review those bids and come back and make a recommendation?
I will.
Okay. All right, we'll give you those quotes and you can make sure everything that you wanted is included and
Yep,
let
that's
us
right.
know.
All right, will do. Thank you.
You wanna do that yet this morning, or?
Yeah, I'll do it, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So you need a motion to defer for the moment?
Yep.
Move.
Motion by Weiss, second by Denner to defer action until Judy has a chance to review. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right. Next up, we have second reading and possible adoption of ordinance 243, amend portions of Title IV zoning / pipeline.
Ordinance 243, an ordinance entitled, an ordinance to amend portions of Title IV zoning, Chapter 4.01, definitions, Chapter 4.06, agricultural preservation district, Chapter 4.07, mini agricultural district, Chapter 4.15, light industrial district, Chapter 4.16, heavy industrial district, all adopted by ordinance 243 as amended of Title IV zoning ordinance of Brown County, South Dakota.
All right, today we have second reading and possible adoption of this ordinance. As you all know, you're all very familiar with the continued discussion that we've had over the past year. Almost a year ago, we passed a moratorium on pipelines to give our planning and zoning department and board the opportunity to review our ordinances and update anything that we felt needed updating with the most current and useful information that they could find that could justify the reasons for any changes to our ordinance. At the first date of our second reading and possible adoption, we agreed to postpone the decision on the passing of this ordinance to give the Planning and Zoning Board one more opportunity to listen to testimony. I think most everybody in the room was probably at that meeting last Tuesday night. A little over a 2-hour meeting. We heard a lot of good testimony, a lot of good pros and cons. We're not here today to argue or talk about the merits of the project. We're here to discuss the ordinance and possibly pass that ordinance. There was some discussion on making a couple minor revisions to the ordinance that passed the Planning and Zoning Board with respect to the setback and where those setbacks would start. It currently says to the lot line, 1,500 feet to the lot line. There was some brief discussion on possibly changing that to any structure on the property. And after, again, further discussion, it was decided that the lot line was thoroughly thought through and researched, and it's in the best interest of the county to remain with the setbacks 1,500 feet from the lot line of the property. So at this time, I would open it up for any discussion, either from the audience. Again, we're not here today to argue or discuss the merits of the project, or any project. This is strictly dealing with the verbiage in our new ordinance 243. Any of the commissioners have any questions, comments? Anyone in the audience have anything to add before we take action on? Anyone? Mr. Jones?
Yeah, real quick, Trevor Jones with Summit Carbon Solutions. I appreciate the time, Mr. Chair and members of the commission. I'll be brief. Obviously, we stand opposed to the ordinance, but regardless of the up or down vote that may or may not take place today, I just threw out, as going forward, we continue to like to have open dialogue with all the officials here in Brown County, whether it be Dirk or anybody else, if you have questions or concerns, and out to the stakeholders and landowners as well. So regardless of what goes forward here today, our obviously open door policy. Hopefully people around the table here have my card. Send me an email or a comment question later on. Again, we want to keep that open dialogue going no matter what happens today. Thanks for your time.
Think you.
Oh, one other thing, I do want to apologize. Once you move on to the Girl Scout hammock project, unfortunately I have to bolt for Sioux Falls, so don't think my hasty exit has to do with angry up or down vote. I just have to get going.
All right, thank you. Any further discussion? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the passage of ordinance 243.
I feel that by pushing that back down last week, that we gave enough open discussion for this, and I just do not feel that there was enough discussion to make it any less than 1,500 feet. I know there was some discussion to make it more than that, but nothing that was less. It was tough to get just information on even a starting point for that, so I'll make a motion to approve the 243 as it is from the property line.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Gage, a second by Feldheim. I just want to thank everybody for the time that you've taken out of your lives to discuss this with the commission. I know a lot of people have spent a lot of time and effort and energy making your opinions known to us. We appreciate that. The turnout last Tuesday night was good. We had a packed house. A lot of good information was provided, and when you have an issue of this size, we appreciate all of your input, and I think it's a very well thought out ordinance, thoroughly researched, and I feel it's a good ordinance, and we will see how it turns out going forward. If there's no further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Let the record show that we're 5 ayes by all 5 commissioners. All right, thank you, everyone.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
could I address the commission for a minute, please?
Sure.
See if I can find this here. Dennis Fikert, was wondering if there'd be an opportunity if commissioners would look at the possibility of extending the moratorium and specifically look at level of cultivation, because the 4-foot depth was put back in the ordinance, and I guess my thought would be to give the Planning and Zoning Board the opportunity, I think the moratorium goes off in July, and I would ask that it be extended and that allow the Planning and Zoning Board to look into the possibility of putting wordage for level of cultivation into the ordinance. And would like to see some action on that.
I'd be glad to visit with our legal counsel to see,
Well, I think,
get their thoughts on that, and we have until July to decide, so. we
and I
can
guess,
definitely give
you know,
that thought.
that would be a decision for the county commission.
Right.
Even as much as the, taking the 6-foot depth out and putting it back at 4 feet, The commission had the final decision on that. And you could have put the state's attorney's office in a position to put it in front of a judge, and that didn't happen. And so, my suggestion would be to extend the moratorium and to look at level of cultivation, and we just ask that you really consider that. So, thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you.
Any other comments? It's passed. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, is there a chance that we can get a copy of the meeting, a public, was that recorded last Tuesday? There's people that weren't able to attend, would like to see that, and they have been unable to see that at this point. Is that available to the public? Will that be put up on the website at some point, so people can see the entirety of that meeting?
I have to check, that's off of the camera system through the sheriff's department. So I don't know what the legalities of that are.
Okay.
That was strictly for us to make sure we got all the comments and stuff, typing up our minutes.
Okay. We'll check into that.
So I'll check into that.
If it's something we can make available, we definitely will.
Well, I know you do your meetings, and that's available for everybody, so people
But
would like to
this is
see
an
that.
open meeting on Zoom to go to.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, next up, we have Dirk Rogers, Highway Superintendent, discuss load limits. Dirk, are you on the line?
No.
Oh, he's right here. All right.
I'm usually not this quiet.
The man himself.
They're all here for you.
Yeah, well, I'm a little, I figured it's 25-cent wing night or something. Usually what brings them in.
We'll keep on with our government regulation talk. I don't see how we can take load limits off. They're gonna expire on Sunday night at midnight technically. What I would propose is, and let's not get caught up in, we're talking about this a week before they actually expire. So I would like them to go for until 2 weeks from today, which is only another 8 days on to what they would be anyway, and then we'll revisit the topic 2 weeks from today and see, but I just,
Pretty soft up
yeah,
there.
it's not super, so, that's what I would propose. We'll need a resolution to extend them past the end of the month though.
I think that's a good decision based on the condition of roads. So.
And then, like I said, we'll be back, what is, the first and is it the 9th?
Yes.
The 9th. We'll come and hopefully that'll be enough time, but I don't think it will be.
And how much moisture we have between now and then.
Yeah, that's part of it too.
There's a little different, so,
Yep.
motion based on the recommendation.
Okay, we have a motion by Weiss to extend the load limits. I'll second it. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Anything else, Dirk?
Nothing too much, I was at the conference last week, and there was quite a focus. I understand you guys also, I don't know how I say that nicely. There's money available for the counties. A couple highway superintendents called me this morning to ask, because their commission's interpretation of the availability and access to the money, was kinda like backing a dump truck up to a spigot, and they just were gonna turn it on. So,
No strings?
well, and so I was just I'm sure you guys heard some of that stuff, for those of you that were at the workshop. We're trying to figure that out, and that was a topic at the conference as well, a little more from a national level on two things. One would be trying to streamline that for more rural counties that don't have the staff of engineers and all that stuff to go through and write the grants and get that. So we're trying to come up with a little better route for that federal money. We have to bypass the state if we can, so the legislature doesn't take it and launder it into something else, but,
You know those guys.
yeah, I know. But anyway, so that's positive, and the other thing that's kind of interesting, and given what's gone on the last couple days, or last couple weeks between the snow and the flooding, and it isn't anything too terrible, but, trying to get more coordinated with FEMA, between the County Engineers Association and the FEMA folks, because we have our own problems on a very small scale, and I don't know if there's any township guys in here, but, the last go-around with the flood and dealing with FEMA was not good. ER's pretty good,
but the FEMA thing is bad, and it's not just us, and you can imagine the other thing they have is some big jurisdictional issues in the big disaster, you know, like dealing with hurricanes, and then they move in, and there's a struggle between the locals and the feds on how you progress, and so they're trying to do a lot of those things, and, 'cause I hate to say it, but FEMA was just about a non-participant in our last go-around. It was really a tough deal. Well, I mean, it wasn't a huge thing, 'cause we had small spots, but...
But there is a website there.
Yeah, I know, you log in, and then you go, send us an email, we'll get back to you.
Yeah.
And the other thing I wanna work on is getting the definition of a flood. Our terrain up here does not fit
Mhm.
the national definition of a flood
Mhm.
event. Right. And you go out to the road and it's underwater, and we're trying to walk through that, and they say, well, when did the flood happen?
Right now?
Right now, it's happening, you know, so there's some things with that, but outside of that, I don't, you know, Hall Crossing is wiped out, and outside of that, nothing
Spring.
else, yeah, I know, nothing else is
All
really.
crossing wiped out?
It,
Really?
yeah, it's,
I
I know.
don't believe that.
I know, I'm just shocked.
It's typical federal programs, though. You know, you've got this 30-day window to apply for it, and make sure you follow the rules. It's
Right.
like, what are the rules? We haven't made them up yet.
Yeah, yeah.
Stand
You have to
by.
apply for permits that take you 45 days to get them, so.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's about all I got, unless you guys have something. Probably gonna push back going to 10s a week, because going to 10-hour days when low limits are still on is a little bit like
Mhm.
spinning in circles. I'd rather wait till we can get full value out of the days, you know?
Right.
And we're not gonna till low limits come off, so. Okay. You guys got anything else? I'm good.
I don't believe so.
Remember, could be worse.
County roads underwater yet?
Yep.
Couple.
16, not real bad, but 16B down below Scandinavian Church is under. We call them the usual suspects.
Mhm.
It's really high up in 18, it hasn't gotten out of there yet. We got, let's see, the wall's at 27 on the Jim River side. So we got, at 20, we figured out that about 27, 30 inches at the wall, then 16B and 25 down there will go underwater. That's sort of the correlation is. But we don't have things that are, like, totally can't get through them, other than the Hall Crossing, which that could just stay where it is.
Right.
We could replace that a few more times, and it floods out a few more times, we're gonna have a crossing downstream, because it's...
There's a lot of material down
It's
there.
taking care of itself.
What's washed out,
Yeah. All
All
right?
right.
Continue to have fun.
Oh, yeah, thanks,
See
sir.
you later.
Thank you.
How are you? Good.
All right, next up, discuss sale of surplus property. As you all know, a couple weeks ago, we declared the Hub City building that we purchased a year ago as surplus. We've had some kind of behind-the-scenes, just brief discussions on what avenue we want to take to dispose of that building. It's been decided that opening it up for advertising, or putting together an RFP, advertising for sealed bids, is probably the best way to at least start, to see what response we get, if we get any. I know there's been interest by at least a couple parties, so I visited with the state's attorney. They would put together an RFP that we would authorize here today to advertise with the bid opening date attached, and put it out to see how many responses we get. So I would open it up for any of the discussion.
What's the timeline on the appraisal? Because we need that first.
Right.
What I have is this from the Director of Equalization's office,
Okay.
and so I do
So
have
it's
that.
done? Okay.
Yes.
And then we did start putting that bid package together. I found the one from the Millen building that we'll be able to use as a template. So
Okay.
we should be able to have that done soon.
Okay. So if we authorize advertising today, then it would be, when would it go in, Lynn, depending on when you have the RFP?
I'm okay with the process, but I'd like to see it first
Yep.
before we do it,
Okay.
before we take action.
Yeah, I should have it done by the end of the week.
So we could authorize it next Tuesday then?
Right, if you don't mind. I'm okay with the process, but I would like to see it first,
Okay.
so get the details of it, if you don't mind.
Okay. Since we had it on the agenda, I would entertain a motion to postpone. One thing I did learn at Spring Workshop last week, that if we if we table an item, then we have to deal with that in that same meeting. So if we postpone action, we can push it off until next week. So I would entertain a motion to postpone the decision on authorizing the advertising on the sale of the property. Motion by Weiss, second by Gage. Any further discussion? Does that work? Ernest and Ross, you're okay with that? All right. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We'll deal with that next week. Next up, fiscal year 2024 benefits discussion. I assume Erica is out there somewhere. Erica?
Erica?
She's right here. Oh, she's over here.
Come. Good morning.
Good morning. Benefits.
Benefits, yay, it's that time of year. Okay, so, I'm going to pass this out to you guys, 2 that way and 3 this way. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. I'm gonna start with the easy 2, and then we'll move on to health. So vision, no change this year. Everything stayed the same with vision. We'll still continue with Optalegra. Delta Dental, our increase there was 5% overall, so we'll continue with Delta Dental as our dental provider. For the health plan, this is where I would like to make some adjustments, so I'm just going to give you my recommendations and I'll let you guys decide from there. Currently we have 4 deductibles. I would like to drop down to 2 deductibles. So what that would do would be eliminating the $1,500 and the $2,000, and those are the 2 deductibles that the employees pay the difference on. So if we eliminate those and just go with the $3,000 and the $3,500 high deductible health plan, the employees won't pay anything. They will still have free health coverage. It's just moving to a different, getting rid of 2 deductibles and having the 2 main deductibles. So that's my recommendation there. The overall increase for health coverage was 2.84%. Now, when looking at that number, that was all 4 plans versus going to 2 plans. If we go to 2 plans, it could be a little bit different, like a 3% or a 4% increase. So, and when I say that, the higher increase would be on the $3,500 deductible plan. The lower increase, or the 2%, would be on the $3,000 deductible. But that does not affect the employee, that only affects the county.
And I know you sent something out to the employees that were on the $1,500 and $2,000 deductible, basically explaining that the difference between what they currently pay by upgrading, I'm gonna call it, to those lower deductible policies would actually offset the increase in deductibles, so their maximum out of pocket at the end of the year potentially wouldn't be very significant.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And yeah, there were only 24 employees.
Okay.
11 on one and 13 on another.
Okay. So this is your recommendation. Do you need this approved today so you, as we work into May, the open enrollment period, we know what we're offering?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes. That way I can get the contract from Wellmark, so we can get that signed off on also to continue to move forward.
Okay. Any questions by any of the commissioners?
Well, I see a note in here, the HSA amount changes because it changes the spread because of the difference in the increase. Is there a specific reason why the higher deductible increased more? Or
that I do not know. I would have to go back and look to see why the premium for the higher deductible was more. And it may be because of a higher percentage of people now going to that $3,500 high deductible health plan. We're now having more claims under that plan versus under the the 3,000.
just curious why, because it's supposed to be based off of your experience rating in general, and it'd just be interesting to see why the 3 times, it's small all the way around comparative, but it's 3 times higher increase at that deductible than the 3,000 deductible. I'd just like to see the numbers and the justification behind that.
And that changes every year somewhat, right?
The
difference between the 3,500 high and the 3,000?
Yes, for the HSA contribution, correct, yes. It could go up or down.
There's just a bigger difference this year than normal, in $10 per paycheck.
Yeah.
Commissioner Weiss, do you want to wait to make a decision on approving this until you have that?
I don't know that it's got changed, and I would like that information, but if this is where we're at with what they're offering, and we need to get it going, I'm not gonna hold it up for that, but I do wanna see
Yep,
that
I can ask them
information.
why that went up.
Yeah,
Yep.
Okay.
so no, that's, thank you, though.
Okay, any further discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion by Tanner to approve the benefits package that's being recommended by HR.
Second.
Second by Feldheim. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Okay, the only other thing is I just wanted to touch base with you guys on, we are planning on going live with our new timekeeping system on April 30th. At that point in time, we will no longer be accepting paper time cards. All the time cards will come from the new timekeeping system. I just wanted to touch base on that.
All departments are on board.
We should be, yes. We've tested, and tested, so.
So did we put together a program, a couple of access points for people who don't spend a lot of time on computers during the day to access it, or tell me how that's functioning?
Okay, so right now, I'll use the highway department as
Right.
an example. So they are currently clocking in on their hard time clock. This was the way they operated in Sunday also. So they would come in, they would punch in on their time cards on the time clock. Cindy gets those time cards at the end of the day. She goes into time and attendance and enters those hours in each day for those employees. We have proximity scanners coming in. We have 2 for the highway department. So once those come in, we'll get those wired in. They'll be able to just come in and swipe their proximity cards, clock them in, clock out at the end of the day. That way Cindy no longer has to enter those in.
Okay, it's not a login process or anything, you have
your card and it's just swipe it.
and you're physically there, and it registers in and out.
Correct. Correct. Yep.
Just wanted to be clear on the process, thank you.
You're welcome.
All
Any
right.
other questions?
Nope.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, that brings us to the end of our scheduled items. Now on to the consent calendar. Lynn?
Approval of the minutes from April 18th for the general meeting.
Move.
Motion by Weiss. Second by Gage. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
County equalization meeting of April 18th.
Move.
Motion by Dennert.
Second.
Second by Gage. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Claims and payroll.
Move.
Second.
Motion by Feldheim, second by Weiss. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
HR report.
Move.
Motion by Gage.
Second.
Second by Dennert. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Claim assignment.
Move.
Motion by Feldheim, second by Weiss. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Leases.
Move.
Motion by Dennert, second by Weiss. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Lottery permit.
Move.
Motion by Feldheim,
Second.
second by Weiss. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Zoning ordinance, set the hearing date and authorize advertising.
Move.
Motion by Weiss, second by Gage. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Plats.
Move.
Second.
Motion by Dennert, second by Weiss. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Any other business to come before the Brown County Commission this morning? Carl?
It's not major business, but it is important, and that is Scott Moore's here. Scott is a couple things. One, he's the manager of the FEM over in Ipswich, but he's also District 23 representative, and he has education, health and human services, and veterans, and he works really hard, but part of his area covers Brown County, so he is your representative, so if things are going wrong, that's the guy to call, okay?
We have his number, Carl.
A consistent message, isn't it?
My name's Carl Perry, and I'm also in the Brown County area. I'm the one you call if things are going really well. Thank you.
Scott's district is a thin sliver that slips into the west edge of Aberdeen.
But they're a
We're happy to have you
hard-working sliver. They're a hard-working sliver, though.
Right. We're still waiting for Judy We do have a request to go into executive session to discuss contracts and legal. So we'll wait to hear from Judy and personnel, I'm sorry, yes, all three. I would entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Ooh.
Motion by Weiss, second by
Thank you all
Gage.
for coming.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion
Yes,
carries.
you will. Indeed.
Thank you, everybody. All right, lights back on, I'll make sure I,
I'm thinking
put
it's
that
all
up,
here.
but I
I
see
think
that it was
mine-
on for a couple of minutes there.
Yeah.
Just getting there. Yep. We're back in session, no action as a result of the executive session. Judy, do you have a recommendation?
Yes, I recommend that we take Montgomery's for
Significant
29.
difference.
What?
Significant difference.
Yeah.
What is this actually covering? What are they,
They're gonna do all the hallways out here in the annex. They're gonna do the lobby in the state there, you know, where the security guys are. And then gonna do the courtroom on the second floor. And then what started it all is that in the hallway there between the court and the admin, I had something going on with the floor, so I have to tear the carpet up. So I thought, okay, this would be the time to, and the carpet's been down for a long time, so then I'm gonna have to get that spot fixed and then be recarpeting it.
And they're,
Separate project while this is taking place.
that's what I was just gonna say, that doesn't include a floor repair under the
It does
carpet,
not,
right?
no,
Right.
no.
You don't know what you're gonna find
I don't know
until
what,
you get it ripped up.
yeah, I don't know
Yep.
what's giving way, I mean,
Yep.
I mean, it's just going.
Yep.
So I'm assuming it's a patch from whenever they, you know, when they remodeled it back in 74, 73.
Yep.
Because it was all under, it was all 2x4s and everything when I came on at 74, so.
what's the timeline?
Visiting with them, I'm really surprised, because I gave them till November 30th, because I figured, I'm asking them, and that's why I was so pleased with this price, because I figured 30 to 40,000, because I'm asking to work weekends and nights. And on the holidays that we have, I mean, it's a holiday that, like 4th of July, I wouldn't expect them to do that, but, you know, I said like
Juneteenth or whatever.
Yep, yep. I said that would be perfect, because then, you know, you'd have longer time. And then actually, the judges are gone to bar convention, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, so that really works good too. And they told me that, with everything going, I should have it all done by July 1, which I was really surprised.
Wow.
Because this guy that they've got, that they have, said that he didn't mind the weekends and the nights, and where the other one's kind of like, I think that's why I didn't get one of the bids, is because they didn't want to work weekends and nights.
Right.
So, that's why I even thought that, I figure it's gonna be a lot more vibrant than I thought. That's why I'm happy with this.
Motion to approve the recommendation from Montgomery's.
We have a motion by Weiss, second by Jenner, to approve the Montgomery's carpet bid. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Okay.
Judy asked this morning, back in 2020, she came in, visited with those of us that were here back then, regarding setting aside some money. We look back through the minutes, there's a brief reference to her coming in discussing future projects, but Judy remembers us specifically taking action on setting aside $250,000 for future projects. My memory isn't as young as it used to be. The minutes are very vague. It just says we discussed future projects.
I just talked with IT to see if there was possibly recordings from back then, but he said no, it got wiped in the hack.
Okay. So,
Because I had, like I said, we had came in and I had money left because I couldn't get some projects done, so I was thinking 200, and you guys made a vote that was between 2 or 250, and you guys decided on the 250. Now you guys don't remember that, I remember it, but now Dave does briefly too.
but it's not earmarked in any of the records that Kathy provided. Do you remember anything, Doug? I mean, your memory's the same age as mine, probably.
And I think you were the one that said 250.
I can't recall that. I'm gonna plead the fifth.
So what do you need to do?
Well, what I want to do is I'm trying to get, I've been on the phone, I'm still waiting for calls back. I've already had car tuck pointing here, I wanna, tuck point the courthouse. I gotta get the, statute of justice taken care of, because I have the scale in my office. And then I lost some more copper up above the clock. I have that in the office. And then I wanna get the dome up there. That's gotta be all tuck pointed too, but I wanna do something with the inside too. Because the brick is not, it's not like really, how do I say it, outside brick the way it looks, you know, so it's kinda wearing. And, where
What are they gonna do with that?
well, I've been trying to get somebody here. I have a call into now, a guy out of Minneapolis. It's called Building Restoration. And he hasn't called me back, because I want him to come, because car tuck pointing said, oh, this is too big. They used to be a big company and they had like 3 groups going around. Now they're down to 1 because of the COVID stuff. They can't get people hired. But you basically, in order to fix it, they have to kind of like, unless they're gonna hang down from up, you know, up the top on there, they're gonna have to scaffold, they're gonna have to scaffold, and then, in order to get equipment, I wanna see if they can work on the copper and fix the statue at the same time. I might be dealing with, you know,
Multiple contractors.
But I need to know it was the right way, because I want it done the right way.
But it's gonna come with a significant price tag.
I'm afraid it's going to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I knew that I had put this, had the 250,000, and then I thought, because, you know, if this guy can get to me here yet, if I don't hear from him yet this week, I'll call next week again, just to get a rough idea. But to me, I think 300, if not more. It's just depending on what I have to do up there. So
I just wanted to throw it out, see if either of whoever was here in 2020 remembered it, so.
because that's gonna make a big difference on my budget.
You think there's still you're talking about next year?
Well,
Or
well,
try to sneak it
if
in
they
this
could
year?
sneak it in this year, I would be happy, at least get some of it taken care of, so that, you know, because my mortar up there, under the bell, the mortar up there is starting to, like, crumble out, and it's got steel behind it, and I wanna,
Well, that stuff's like a road, it looks fine, and then when it goes, it just goes.
yeah, it's not all come, you know, yeah, so.
What's the balance in the commission's contingency fund, you know?
But then I would have to go through all the bidding process too, and I'm assuming,
We haven't dipped into that yet. We have all of our contingency left at this point, so.
yeah, but like I said, I gotta get them here and tell me what if they can, and, or if there's special people just that works on the copper and.
Check with the
Because their
state though,
hand is,
because I know.
I have, and that's how,
Yep.
you know, we discussed the grant, you know, we could
I
apply
mean,
for a
the prison.
grant. Yeah.
Just verify that they do or don't, because I know back when I was on appropriations, that's who did all the state buildings.
Yes.
Was the tuck pointing crew from the
The
pen.
pen, yeah. And,
That may have gone away, I don't know,
Yeah.
but.
and Sophie had actually sent me some names of people that work on copper, and then they have it there of the company that worked on Capitol's copper.
Oh, okay.
So I'm giving him a call too.
Okay.
So, but I wanted to hear from this restoration guy, because I thought, well, maybe they do the whole total package. And, so, that's why I was wondering where my 250,000 is.
Right.
I'll do more research and trying to, because there was money under assigned in 2020 on the annual report. I just don't know what it was for. So I'm trying to look into that too.
Because to me, you guys even did a roll call, and I would have thought that would have been in there, the roll call of who agreed and who didn't agree, but.
No, it's very vague, I read the minutes, and Judy came in to discuss the project, so. All right, well, look forward to the new carpet gets put in. I think 2x2 squares is a good way to go.
Yep.
Place small pieces instead of the whole hall if you have a serious issue.
Yeah, and we picked a darker color because we're having people that are bringing in grease and all that kind of stuff, and hopefully this will be a better color, and where it's got it's a lot more thicker, and so I'm hoping it's somewhere even better.
You said this was a 30-year contract.
Yes.
What is the new stuff rated, about the same? Is
Well,
it-
see, I
They still
go,
do that?
I've always went with the Shaw Philadelphia, because that's, you know, it's really good carpet, it's a commercial carpet. You don't wanna put a household carpet in here.
Right.
So I've always went with everything's in here is a Shaw, Philadelphia Shaw, some sort of color.
Sure,
So I could get a 30-year wear,
sure. Sounds good.
and I'm happy that it's a 30-year wear. So, but, and then with the money that I have in my budget and however it goes, I'll just tell you now. And because I have this, I have a courtroom, another courtroom that I could do, I should be able to use this quote and get it from them.
Same
Get
price
that-
per square foot.
Right.
Plus labor. Okay.
So they're actually gonna come and measure and kind of give me an idea what that's gonna cost, so,
Okay.
that's my plan.
All right.
All right. Guys have any other questions? I'm
No.
gonna start getting ready for air conditioning, gotta get everything greased and oiled.
I know Lynn asked me earlier this morning about, she was approached by Becca about holding the 4-H awards ceremony in the community room.
You guys okay with that?
And I'm okay with it. Does anybody have any heartburn with that? It's on a Sunday. I said, if it's okay with Judy, it's okay with me. I mean,
Yep.
community room is for community use.
Yep.
4-H is a perfect fit. It's just that it's on a Sunday and it's not a day that, so, I mean.
No hammocks.
So it all falls on you to make sure it's open and so on.
You can
on
enforce the
Sunday,
hammock
so.
rule.
Yep, yep. So
Anybody
I've already
have-
have it on the calendar.
What could
so
go wrong?
Yeah.
Whatever you guys,
So unless anybody has any heartburn with that, we'll just consider it a done deal. All right, that's all I have.
all right,
Thank you.
thank you.
That's encouraging that they hope to be done by July 1st. That's,
Yeah, I was told them they need,
yeah, that's not a very long time frame here.
yeah,
It's already May 1st.
It's moving.
yeah. Well, what I found out is that they actually already have it reserved.
Oh,
They had just enough in stock, so they reserved it all.
they were optimistic that they were the low bid by $9,000.
Yeah, so, all right.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Good for them, good for us.
Yep. Anything else that we need to discuss today?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Weiss to adjourn, second by Dennert. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We are adjourned.